back from the dead.
Hey guys, in this video I wanted to talk about some creepy things that keep happening to me recently. If you don't believe in that kind of stuff, then that's fair enough. I'm not trying to like convince anyone of anything, but like if you don't, then maybe just don't watch this one. I don't know. But yeah, lots of weird creepy stuff keeps happening to me and around me, and it's been happening for a while. But recently it's been a bit too much. Basically, just as some examples, when I was living at my sister's house, I used to get I had like a bathroom attached to my room, and the door on it would just open, even if there was no windows open in the house, and it would just like creak open and closed. I think I have some footage of it. I don't know. If I do, I'll put it in. Yeah, if I find any footage of any of this, then I'll put it in, obviously. I definitely had footage of it. I don't know if I've still got it. And my light in that room used to flicker a lot at really stressful, weird times. And I actually got contacted by a medium through my sister who told me that it was my nan trying to communicate with me, which was a little bit creepy, but didn't upset me too much because like at least then I knew who it was. But other weird stuff used to happen there as well. Like I would be using Snapchat was one of the main ones. I would use Snapchat, and obviously I would put like a filter on, and I'd go through all the filters like you do just to see what decent ones there were. Not that there is ever any, which is why I don't use it. They're always the same. But like I'd be using it, and then another face would just like appear behind me. You know, like the filter would appear here, or you know, over there, or and it would just kind of move around. And I was like, okay, maybe it's my phone. But then when I changed my phone, it still like because obviously I had an upgrade, and I thought I'd just try it out just to see, and it still did it. That was weird. And in some of them, you can see like where I don't know if it does it normally, but like when you have the filter on, um, even though there's no face there, you can still see eyes, which was creepy. So like a pair of eyes would appear behind me, like with a filter on or whatever. And like if it was the dog, I think I've got one of the dog ears, one or bunny ears or something, and then one with confetti. And in one of them, you can just see eyes, and it's really creepy. And I tried it around different spots in my room as well, just in case it was like, what's the word? I guess it would technically be matrixing a face through like pixels and stuff, or just recognizing a face through something else that looked like a face. So I tried it in different places in my room, and it would still happen. So that was creepy. Since I've moved, that hasn't happened. I have tried it a few times, but other weird stuff keeps happening. I haven't had as many in my place, but just I say little things. I mean, they're probably not little to some people, which is why I wanted to share them. But like I would wash up my plates and stuff, and obviously you have the drainer that you stack them in, and obviously I might try and get well, no, people know what a drainer looks like. Basically, it was the plastic version, so like it's about that high, like the rim of it around the outside, and then obviously you've got like the slots for plates and stuff, and a little bit for cutlery and stuff like that. So I would stack the plates up, and I had it facing sort of that way, like my sink was here, and this was here, and you'd stack the plates like this, basically. And every so often I would hear this weird clunk, and it'd usually be late at night, and I'd be like, okay. So I'd get up and have a look, and every time one of my plates will have moved up and over the lip, which is that big, remember? It would move up and over and then just place itself into my sink, like in the washing up bowl. Wouldn't crack, wouldn't like smash, wouldn't make that much of a loud noise. So it just kind of sounded like it would, the clinking of you putting a plate down, basically. So that's creepy, and that's happened a few times. I don't think I've got any footage of that, though. Like, obviously not. I never see it actually happen. I just hear it and then see the aftermath of it being in my sink. Like, just plainly sat there. Like, someone's just placed it there. But I know damn well it wasn't there, because I've only got, like, 2 plates. I live by myself. So I was just like, okay, that's a bit creepy. And that's happened a couple of times. And obviously it spooked the dog a couple of times as well. And weirdly enough, another weird thing that's been happening, there's some other stuff with another like to do with my sister, but I won't go into that because some of it's a bit weird and a bit personal, so I won't go into that one because I haven't asked her if I can talk about it, and it is a little bit sensitive, so I won't. But the other thing that happened to me was when I was at work. Actually, this has happened a couple of times. Where I work, it's in retail, but it's in a big warehouse type building. It's not a warehouse, but it used to be. So it's a very big hangar, I suppose Americans would call it. It's kind of like a hangar building. So it's quite old. I don't think it's that old, but it's quite old, if that makes any sense. It's not like ancient or anything. And like, I don't know, there's just a lot of weird stuff that happens there. Like, every so often we'll be stood there, and some of the signs hanging down from the ceiling, they're on metal rods. And, like, there's probably about, I want to say, like, 12 to 15 hanging from the ceiling across the shop, because it's big. And, like, the third one along sometimes will just be swinging. For no reason. No reason. There's no air, there's no wind. And even if there was wind, like, the first and second one would probably move as well, or at least one's around it. But no, it always seems to skip the first couple and just go for the other one, and it's just swinging there by itself, which is creepy. Other stuff that happens is like, and this has happened a couple of times to me. I think it has happened to other people, but it's definitely happened more to me. Which is the shop shut. Okay, I'm on the close, and it's like done. It's closed. But we always double check, and I think one of the times I was looking to make sure that there wasn't any customers in the store so we could, like, cash up and just go home. And I was walking down and I was checking down all the aisles, and I'd walk past an aisle after looking down it, and I'd literally get to the next aisle, so not very far, probably about 3 steps, and then I'd hear clunk, and I was like, so I'd literally walk backwards like I was in reverse, and I'd look, and then there'd just be something from that aisle just in the middle of the aisle on the floor. Like, it had just thrown itself off the shelf. And the type of stuff that falls isn't stuff that can, like, it can't, even if it was, like, really windy in there for some reason, which it's not, because the only windows are at the front of the building. There are no other windows in the entire building. Like, it's just all at the front, and they don't open. It's just the shop doors are open. And obviously once we're closed, they're locked. So they weren't open. The aircon isn't that strong anyway, and I believe when this happened it was winter, so we didn't have the aircon on. And yeah, this thing, it was quite heavy, and they're not exactly like top heavy or anything like that, so there's no reason for it to fall. But this happened a few times to me. After checking, it'd either be checking that there was no more customers in the store, or just like putting stuff back. I would walk past, and it's usually in the same place as well, towards the back. I can hear really loud banging car music, and I hate that. if you're a guy and you do that and you think it's really cool to like blast like really bassy music, it's not. I mean, blast your music by all means, but not like bassy music and not that loud. It's ridiculous. Anyway, off topic. Yeah, and a couple of times, and it would always be in the same place. I would walk past, and again, nothing, absolutely fine. And then I'd walk past, and within 2 steps, 3 steps, you'd hear it fall, and it would just be different things. We changed the shop around so much that it, 1 minute it'd be one item, and then it'd be something completely different. So it's not like it was the same thing that kept falling, but it would be in a similar place. And then one time, because there's usually a couple of us that close, but like there's always 2 at least that stay a little bit later for like cashing up and just like sorting out the last little bits. And it was me and this girl, and we were getting our coats, and we heard footsteps upstairs in like the stock area, and we both were like, but minutes before we were on the shop floor and we were walking back to get our stuff, and we knew the shop was empty because we'd made sure like we'd done everything that we needed to do. There was definitely no one in there. The other people that were working with us had gone because their shift had finished, and I think we were only staying like 15 minutes after them, if I remember rightly. So we were walking back, and we kept hearing things in the shop. So we were like, okay, that's weird. But we kept walking around. We were like, no, it's nothing. Like, it must be just like an echo or something. Not that would really work. And we kind of knew that this stuff like would happen every so often. So we were a bit like, we were getting our coats, and we heard footsteps upstairs, and we were like, we were trying to convince ourselves that maybe it's next door and it's somehow reverberating through the store. But it literally was right above us, and we were like, no, we've got to go check, because obviously we heard, what we thought was someone in the store. Like, maybe they'd somehow got back there, even though you need, like, key codes and stuff like that to get in there. So we went all the way up there. No one up there. Nowhere for them to hide. There was literally no one there. So we were like, okay. And so we left. And then it just keeps happening, and it's so weird. But this last time that really freaked me out and made me think, I need to make a friggin' video about this weird stuff that keeps happening around me. But nothing had happened for a little while. At least not, like, while I was at work. Like, weird stuff had been happening here, but not while I was at work. And obviously we've been closed for ages because of the whole virus. But there was, like, 4 of us on, and it was about closing. So I was like, I think it was like 5 to the time that we closed, but we were dead for a change. And I was like, oh, wow. So I kind of came out from like the checkout, and I was like, oh, is like the store empty? And I distinctly heard one of the girls that I work with, and it was her voice and everything, shout from like 2 aisles to my right, no, there's no one in here, or like no, or something like that. Just like a not very long like answer. I'm sure it was just no. I'm pretty sure I just said, is there anyone in here now? Like, is that it? Is the shop empty? And they answered me. And I was like, oh, cool, because I want to get some bits. And I walked out, and the other couple of staff members were stood there. And then I saw the girl that I thought I heard walk by with the sign outside. And I just went, what? Because I said to them, I was like, did no one else hear that person say no? And they were like, no, what are you talking about? I was like, 2 aisles that way, I heard someone answer me when I said, is there anyone else in the store? And they said no. And I thought it was, I'm not going to say her name, but I thought it was her. But she's outside. And they were like, right, do you want to check to see if there's anyone down there then? So I went down there, I walked through the whole shop, and we were literally the only 4 in there. And she did not have time to like run from the 2 aisles that way to outside the front of the store, because there's way too much like area for her to cover, and I would have heard her running anyway. So that really creeped me out, because it really did sound like her. And I told her, so we just started calling it like Ghost and then her name, because she was like, oh, she's trying to copy me. It was really creepy, and it really creeped me out. But this stuff keeps happening, and I don't understand. Like, no one else heard it, and it was loud. Like, they shouted back at me. And it's like, it's just creepy as hell. And I think, actually, saying that, I think one of the other staff members did hear, and they thought that I was talking to someone on the phone or something. I can't remember what she said now. One of the younger girls that I work with. She was like, oh yeah, I thought you were talking to someone on the phone. And I was like, no, I heard someone shout no. and I thought it was her, but she's outside. So yeah, it was pretty creepy, but weird stuff like that keeps happening and I don't understand it. I'm trying to think of anything else like significant that's happened recently and I can't off the top of my head. But yeah, those ones really creep me out and I don't understand why it keeps happening. Like, it doesn't bother me too much. Like, it's not like scary. Like, I don't feel like whatever it is like, you know, evil or whatever, but it is a little bit spooky that this keeps happening. Oh, that was another one. I was nearly completely asleep and I heard someone right next to my head say something, and it was a guy. And it was weird because I knew that it wasn't a person, if that makes sense. Like, it didn't feel like a person. It felt like, you know, when you listen to something on headphones, it was kind of like that, but like loud, but only in one ear, if that makes any sense at all. But my brain recognised that it couldn't have been a human being in the room with me because I live by myself, and it wasn't outside my window for 100%, because I know I live with that every day. There's so many people living around here, so I know the difference, and and even the dog was like he heard it as well, and it really freaked me out. But that's the only other thing that's happened. Another thing that used to happen at my sister's house was that nearly every night, when I was going to bed, usually, I would hear, or in the middle of the night, and it used to wake me up, it was so loud. She had like a glass cabinet. I think they call them like a farmhouse cabinet. I don't know. They're really popular for people that love shabby chic, where they've got like, they're like a bureau with like drawers and cupboards, but then on the top half, it's usually like shelves, but they're in glass, so you can put like, you know, like antique, like tea sets and stuff like that in them to look really cute. So obviously there's two doors at the top, which we never opened, and it did have a vintage tea set in. I think it belonged to my nan actually, the tea set that was in there. If I remember rightly, it's this really cute pink and white china tea set thing that my sister really wanted when my nan passed away. And every night I would hear, because it was directly below my room, this cabinet, and I would hear, like, it would sound like someone had gone up to the glass and just gone on it. And it was really specific, like, finger hitting glass sound. And so many times I would get up and I would go downstairs and I would, like, maneuver the doors and see if they'd move, but they're quite stiff because it's, like, been painted, and it just didn't ever open because we didn't need to open it. And I thought, maybe it's next door, like, banging something and it knocks into the cabinet and something's clicking inside the cabinet, and I tried moving it. It was this far away from the wall, so that wasn't a possibility, but I thought maybe it's moving. Couldn't move it, it's too heavy. So, and it used to happen a lot, and it was just so weird. It was such a specific sound that there was nothing else in that room that was glass that would make that sound, and it would happen nearly every night, and it was just so bizarre. It's just random stuff like that, but like, it's kind of comforting in a weird way to hear other people say, oh yeah, I've had that, or this happened to me, or, you know, because then you're like, oh, okay, I'm not going crazy. I'm not the only person that feels this stuff. But yeah, it doesn't really bother me. I don't think I would care so long as I don't see anything. Like, if I saw someone, I think I would freak out. But if I can hear someone, I usually know when it's something spooky, because I do believe in all that stuff. Having been through some certain situations, like when I had my spleen removed and dying on the table, I had the whole out of body experience. So I definitely believe in the spirit, and my mum's had the exact same thing actually. So I definitely believe in all that stuff, and I've just experienced the weirdest things that cannot be explained in any other way. So to, like, whenever I hear something a little bit spooky like that, like a voice that I know isn't, like, here, I don't know if everyone reacts this way. Most people that I've encountered that have heard voices from people that, you know, aren't around anymore and they recognise it as their voice, you have this weird reaction where, yeah, you get your goosebumps and everything else, but they also get tears in their eyes, and I get the exact same thing. Like, you just well up. It's really bizarre. It's not out of sadness. It's just like a weird reaction that your body does when you hear it. It is weird. So I always can tell when it's something like that. But like this stuff that's been happening, I don't really feel like threatened by it. So it doesn't really bother me. But like I say, if I saw something, I think I would be a bit like, I don't need to see that. I don't need to see you. I can feel you, I can hear you, that's fine, but I don't want to see you. Because there's something about that would really freak me out. But yeah, I just thought I'd share this stuff with you. There's loads of other stuff that I've been through that like, and my family have been through, and friends and other people that have work colleagues as well that have been through, that is really creepy, that can't be explained. So yeah, if you guys want to hear more stuff like that, then let me know. Or shall I save it till October? I feel like that's very cliche and boring to save it until October, like, Halloween. I don't know. Maybe I will. I'll think about it. Yeah, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up, obviously. And maybe share some stuff if you've had anything like that in the comments. I don't know. I don't know what you guys have experienced. But if you've experienced anything spooky, then I'd love to hear about it because I love that stuff. I love it. Yeah, and I hope you did enjoy this video, a bit different to the norm, and I will see you guys in the next one.